was that Amy Newsom, our EDA consultant, gave her 30-day notice. And a few days after, the council terminated the agreement immediately. And so Shirley and I have tried to work together the best to come up with agenda, explain kind of the minutes and things like that. We tried our best to have all the information you should. So with that, I don't know, we never really do roll call members, unless you want.
Oh, yeah, that would help me a lot.
Oh, so you get to know people?
Yes, right.
Okay, Larry Sorensen.
Here.
Dean Bergerson.
Here.
Howie Brinkman.
Here.
Tim Kleckel.
Here.
Jeff Matz.
Here.
And Kirk Bank here. And we have Curtis Ling, City Council member Curtis Ling is not present at the minute. Maybe he might arrive later. If I go too fast, just tell me to
that's
slow
right.
down.
Thank you. Okay, thank you very much, Jim.
Okay, approval of the agenda. Do you have any additions? I do have two.
There's a bunch of paper in front of me. I
Yeah,
imagine those would be additional.
I don't know, I guess I didn't get those.
Really. Oh, you didn't get them all on them.
okay, let me see, here's that easement.
Oh,
And, oh yes, and then I'll go back and get you those. I thought I had handed them to you. I'm sorry. It's the
we
valuation.
wait for you to come back or should we?
No, just keep going.
There's some. There.
Oh, there.
Oh,
That's
there.
right, okay,
Yeah,
thank you.
I have that.
Right. Lisa was so kind today to print out the valuation notice on the 22 acres that we'll be discussing this evening.
Okay,
And so then I can give you that information that that's what this is about.
so that'll be for later.
Mhm.
Okay. And then
So,
is the Rand Frazier. We should put that on the agenda then.
this one,
Well, this one that you gave.
yes, I thought that was on there.
So we want to mark down D, there's correspondence from Ryan Frazier.
I had listed, I think, on my agenda anyway, as a easement proposal, but you sure.
Oh, no, however,
D is fine,
easement
just put that, that's a good idea. Easement
Easement
proposal. Mhm.
proposal, okay?
I don't have an agenda. Was it emailed?
Yeah,
Oh, I didn't
You
know.
didn't get an agenda?
I
Here, I
didn't
can
get
give you mine.
Yeah, I was thinking.
Yeah, I
maybe
have an
got
extra one
handed
there.
out to me.
and then E, I'd like to add a quick statement from the Sibley County Fair Board. And then F, a reminder for Tony Huff about his requirement at the end of next month. So I hope I'm going too fast. You
No,
can kind
that's
of read
fine,
there
that's
too.
fine. I'll make a copy for you later.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Anybody else want to add or delete anything from the agenda? Okay, is there a motion to approve?
Move the approval of the
Second.
amended agenda.
Mhm. Second.
Okay, motion by Larry Sorensen, second by Tim Kleckel to approve the amended agenda. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried. Approval of the minutes, we have that down. The issue is Amy always takes the minutes, so we have no minutes. So Shirley asked me if I could go by memory, which sometimes I can't remember what I had for lunch yesterday, but I think I got pretty close, except I can't remember like who made motions and seconds for the minutes, things like that. So if you want to take a minute just to look at them quick, we can either approve them tonight, we can wait till next month. If there's anything you want changed, I know now's the time, but that's kind of the dilemma we're in.
Mhm.
We thought we'd have minutes and we.
That's pretty much the way I remember it.
Okay.
And I'm older than you are.
Yeah. So it's certainly up to the group. I don't think we made any big decisions.
No.
It's kind of the minutes, the agenda, all took the tour.
So I'll make a motion, we accept these minutes as handed out. I'll sign it.
Okay, motion by Dean, second by Howie to approve the February 13th, 2023 minutes.
Good job.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
No, you're taking the minutes though for next one.
We'll see.
Okay, well, we can kind of combine.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Now, before we get down to new business, if the EDA doesn't mind, we do have one resident that would like to, so Jenny, you want to come up? We normally don't have citizens addressing the council, but she came in, if you want to, and just a couple minutes. You don't have like a half hour or anything
You
like
know,
that.
I don't even really know.
And we'll listen if anybody has some questions. Okay?
I'm just here because I recently moved to Arlington, behind the racetrack, to Arlington Meadows, January 1st. Under the assumption I was gonna be there for 2 years, with the lease I signed from SIWAC. And then March 1st, I had someone knock on my door saying, hey, we're the new owners, you were sold. And now I got an email today that my rent is going up a lot, that I can't afford to stay here, and I'm just curious, how does that,
$400,
Yeah.
you said?
yeah, how does that even happen?
Yeah.
Like, why is that
My
happening?
question would be if you signed some agreement, whether the ownership would change or not, that would be, I would think, but I'm no
Yeah,
attorney.
I have it here.
For how many years? 1, 2?
2 years, I said if I left before 2 years, I wouldn't get my deposit back. And she says, because we like people to stay. I was like, oh, this is great, I'd love to stay too. And then March 1st, hey, I'm your new owner, that's not valid anymore. And I'm like, what? I had no idea it was even for sale.
Well, it sounds like there's some legal aspects that need to be investigated.
Well, it says 2 years on it, so
Yeah, and I'm like,
I don't think you can do that.
I don't
No, I agree with you.
I don't have the funds to up and move again. My son is enjoying it here. He doesn't want to move again. And I'm just overwhelmed with like, how does this happen? And so there's so many things yet at the property that need to be fixed. Like my sidewalk and driveway, I guess, have to be ripped up. There's electrical issues still inside my townhome. How it even got sold is kind of confusing me on those levels.
Yeah.
And then the new owner saying she has to raise the rent because she has to pay for those repairs. Don't you think SIWAC is paying for those repairs yet?
It should be. Well, sidewalks.
Well, that was
the
the
outside
agreement
ones.
that he was going to.
Yeah.
So I'm just looking for some way to help and stay in our home. I don't
Anybody
even know where
have
to
any
go.
ideas, or could we
Well, I
Director.
believe you need to talk to a lawyer.
Okay.
I
I think
think,
you're getting the shaft.
Yeah,
Just a point of information, just before I came in here, Darren Haspel called the building inspector, and he said that he wanted the EDA to know that he has only given them, I forgot the word. He's only allowed them 6 months to have people living there before all of the items that he has listed has to be completed. And he said he got us a copy. I didn't see it today. I don't think, Gwen, you received it either. But it's a certificate that he gives out. So
Certificate of occupancy.
that's right. You're right. Correct, sir. And so, he said there are lots of things he has on that certificate that has to be fixed within the next 6 months. So, and the new owner also knows about that. So just-
But if she signed a contract with SIWAC for 2 years, he shouldn't be able to change it. Cause I know when we
think
bought
the
our buildings,
contract would
Yeah.
follow
it should follow the thing for 2 years, yeah.
Unless there's a provision in that contract. about
I
the
will-
owner.
I believe that in the first contract, you were correct that he was to own the property for so many, I thought it was 5 years. That was taken out of that contract, the
Right.
one that he signed. So I don't know what that means, but it's that.
Well, that's just
well, I don't
because he
think
had
that would have anything
occupied.
to do with her
No,
contract.
not with her.
No,
That's
that's
what-
why she needs to see a lawyer.
It was for that $20,000 or something. Yeah,
I
So
would
you're
think
gonna
that
have to
that
get a lawyer.
contract would be valid and could be held up, but I'm not a lawyer.
Well, they could have, instead of putting a thing on her, do you think we should use our lawyer or not? Or should she get her own lawyer?
I surely can't afford a lawyer.
So that's,
Is that something?
Because we're kinda
reach
mixed
out
up with
to
the-
Ken
with the other one.
Jensen, just with everything that's going on with that property.
Right.
There's something else to smooth things out.
right.
I certainly, we can ask the city council if we can move forward and check with the.
There's her name and
Oh,
her
yeah, that's
phone
Oh, yeah.
number.
Mhm.
That's-
If we can help it, we'll try that. Then there's only so much our group can do, but we can maybe guide you in the right direction maybe. And
What do you say, Matt?
Yeah, the lawyer needs to look at the contract and then evaluate it.
Cause we still own the land there, don't we? No,
That's Highway's property.
Right,
It's
but he
Highway's
has-
property. He can do with it as he pleases. If he sells it, he sells it.
right,
We
but-
got $20,000 he wants.
right,
He might be able to
for
use
the-
that as.
For the payment on that driveway that he did,
right.
but I don't
But
know.
if you sign a 2-year
But even
contract,
if,
you should be able to.
even if our lawyer took a quick look at it, I don't think it'd be a problem, but I
Okay.
don't wanna set too much of a precedent where
yeah,
we get a lot of people coming to have our lawyer do free work for them, the city pays for it. No offense to you, but we don't, we just gotta watch how we do things.
Yeah, just have them take a look at it.
yeah,
and see
could you
what-
at least,
Or do we have to go through the council first?
Well, I
Council
would,
have to make it.
I would think that'd be the right thing to do so that the city council approves
Okay.
it otherwise. But, staff could furnish you a number for the city attorney and then we could just say that it's recommended and if the mayor is here and knows about it, we'll put it on the next agenda and let them know the next
Which
time.
is-
No, the new
Next
city
Monday.
attorney comes from Glencoe, is that right?
Yes.
Yes.
Mhm.
would it be helpful if Jenny came to the next city council meeting, so that city council, then they know
What's going on?
what we have next
Or-
Monday
or
at
Jeff can
6:30?
update. Jeff can update too.
I think that would be a good idea.
It might be
I think
good if you're here.
the majority of the council knows that there are issues out there, so that they would
Yeah.
probably.
And
see if
some of the
they-
others might come. I mean, this email literally came out at 3:45 about the rent going up, so I'm sure the rest aren't happy as well.
No.
But I just came straight here after work because I was like, I can't do this,
Exactly.
Can't trust anybody anymore.
right?
Do we need a
Appreciate
motion
it.
to refer this to the?
I would just
council?
make a motion that we recommend to the city council to look into the deal at their next
Legality.
meeting.
I'll second that motion.
Okay.
Whatever that was, I'll figure it out.
Okay. Okay, motion by Tim, second by Larry to refer our recommendation from the EDA for the city council to look into the matter.
Was it Jen?
Jenny,
Jenny.
J-E-N-N-Y,
And her last name's Wolf,
W-O-L-F-F.
and we do have her name and number here.
I just,
You had to show that paper to the lawyer or?
You can keep that, it's an email.
Yes, I will.
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
That would be good, maybe to put in the city council packet,
Sure. Mhm.
so they get a little background.
Okay.
Thank you.
Have you read?
Okay,
Thank
thank
for your
you, good
time.
luck.
Thank you.
Sorry, Jenny.
Okay, next, new business.
You wanna see
Request
it?
from Northland Dry and Matt Nelson and Lee Omscheid.
We'll give it back.
If you wanna come forward, guys, you wanna give a presentation?
No, you read it and I'll look at it.
I don't know about a presentation.
Yeah, I don't know that we,
Request?
I don't know that we even have a proposal other than,
Yeah,
we
what's
started
it?
a dialogue, whatever, a year plus.
It was October, 21.
That sounds right.
You all of you got the proposal, I believe, I'm sorry, Mr. Nelson, but it was in your packet. And then I also included in there the minutes from September 13th of 2021, October 11th, 2021, and November 8th of 2021, because that had the request and what was considered on that. Mr. Nelson gave me information about it, and so I thought, okay, I'll look it up for you because it's hard to remember, and so it just jog your memories a little bit.
It was very helpful to get those minutes
Well, thank you. I thought so too. I
I couldn't remember.
We appreciate you looking that up.
Well, thank you. And then, to go along with that property, I think I gave you copies of that, is Lisa, our finance officer, gave me the copies of what we paid for taxes in '22 on that property, and it was $22,432. And then the value of the property for next year is $157,200, and it had been valued at $129,20, and I think that corresponds with what Mr. Nelson told me the tax value was. And then she said that in 2012 is when the EDA purchased the property, and you paid $266,160. So there's some information for you, so that,
Thank you.
yeah, you're welcome.
Okay, fellas, you wanna,
So I guess we don't have a proposal other than, we had a
what
proposal.
was in our,
We kind of had a dialogue and we're here to see if we can reopen the dialogue, if we would still have interest in buying it. If you have interest in selling it. If that's not an appealing avenue, we can potentially bring a different business. I don't have particulars of any of that right now, but if it's something you'd have interest in, we can surely pursue that as well.
Well, we're always interested in selling.
Well, I know it, since then, there's been talk about a road and, I don't know if it's something you have interest in, so we're here to reopen the dialogue, but we still have interest.
Essentially, at the end of 2021, right in those months, you know, and I think it says that in those meeting minutes, was when you guys were getting the property back from Derek Bushman, and we were interested in purchasing it from you. And I believe that you guys were set, or one of the meetings, it was gonna be going to a public forum,
We had ownership we had to regain ownership because we, September and October we had. And then, once we had regained ownership, then it was my understanding, if we were gonna sell it, we'd put a public forum or something.
It would require a public hearing.
That's when it was public hearing.
Yeah.
And it just kind of got dropped, pushed to the side or whatnot.
So if we did sell it to you, what would you put on it? Would you bring business in the town? Would you put people into there? My intention is yes, that we would. What time frame do you have? I don't know. No. Well, my thing is, I've been pushing for that road back there for a long time, and I hope the state comes through with some funding, because we like to keep that open. I'm also on the electrical committee. Our substation out here is big enough to cover the town, but we'd also like to put a substation out there on that property to cover whatever businesses we have come in down there, because that's gonna be our industrial park. So that's where I stand on the issue. We have been talking about a solar field for us. So, but we gotta see if there's any money out there through the state or federal government that could help us do it, or can we do it ourselves? So that's where I stand on the issue, is we're looking at them issues, and if that road does come through, that would be nice to have that open for, different businesses out there and stuff like that. Also, I've been thinking about if we can't get money from the state, is going to the county and swapping that piece of road for downtown Main Street, or that 17 going through that way. That way we could push the county to put a road through there. That's my ideas on the thing, but that's through the electrical committee and what we've been thinking, so.
And if it's sold to a party, do we lose the possibility of a road going through there in the future once it would be sold to somebody else?
No, that land wouldn't, no, but that would take away all our investments that we have. And if we sell it to one person, let's say we take the 22 acres and split it up in 4 sections, we could have 3 or 4 different businesses out there if we didn't put a solar field, but we're gonna need a new substation in 10 years at least, so. That's where I stand on the issue.
Does anyone know the status of that CR 166 in terms of legislature?
No, that sort of went down the tube when Amy went out, and then, well, we got, Bobby Harder is working on it. and Gruenhagen. Mr.
I
did
emailed her
talk.
today, but I haven't had a response
I
yet.
did talk to her at the fish fry. I went to the fish fry with her to ask her, they're still kind of in the initial stages where they have heard from the agencies that want money for the bonding bill, but
The whole bonding bill is really up in the air right now.
yeah,
so, I mean,
that's the thing. There's nothing. She said 3 of her projects in her whole district got a hearing, but ours hasn't, or did not, but maybe it
Right.
might.
New Auburn and some of the other projects were heard.
Yeah.
But
Any other questions or thoughts, or we're kind of, sorry, but, well, I think most people, we're kind of in transition too here because we don't have an EDA consultant. Shirley's doing her best, and she's new, and, you know, so doesn't know the history that we all know about everything, so. Any other questions or comments, or?
well, since the land has been reassessed, I mean, what is your offer at this point?
Same as it was then, what fair market value,
$157,000.
whatever it's worth, right?
Okay.
Not stuck on the number.
Was there another purchaser that?
You know, there was another
That's
gentleman,
supposed to be next,
uh-huh,
but
Oh, well,
and I don't
was
see
just
that
wondering, I
he's
mean,
here
that-
yet.
we don't have to obviously make a
No.
decision tonight. They're here to open up a dialogue,
Yep.
and that's something we can certainly pass on to the city council. And again,
And all that information you just brought up is news to me.
Yeah. And that's what I was gonna bring up tonight after, I mean, even if these guys wouldn't be here, what we're gonna do out there and stuff like that, so. And not saying they can't, you know, if they're gonna put up a business and bring, I mean, that's
Well,
what
they've
our
got some
land is
ideas
for,
in
yeah.
that letter they sent out.
Yeah. I mean, you don't wanna sell the land and just let it sit either, I mean, then we lose, where are you gonna buy it, you know? Unless we look at that land across from Hagemiller's out here, that I've been talking about EDA for a long time, but every time I bring it up, someone says somebody wants to build on it. Well, I'll push them, you know, go to the person that owns the land and say, we'll buy it. That'll push the person into building, if that's all I hear too, is rumors, you know, so.
Yeah, but wasn't it that someone has a first option or something on it?
But if we don't push
There must
the
be some
issue,
terms under that first option.
right, but it's like, we go out there and say, okay, what do you want for your land? And if he says this, okay, we'll make an offer for it, then make that guy do what he's gonna do, but we need building in town, we need businesses.
Yeah.
You know, so that's where I stand too on some issues.
One question I've always had is with our EDA land that we rented out for farmland, so Amy said it's always a wash, but Tony Huff up to last fall was current with his property taxes. But since we own that land, why can't that money come back into our fund instead of going into the general fund? So then we could build up a fund, so then we could maybe buy other land.
Yep.
That's what I always thought. I think it's always kind of unfair.
Well, that's something we can talk about, you know, after, through
That's
new businesses or whatever, so.
console issue.
Otherwise, we never really get much in our budget at all.
Yeah.
I mean, barely enough just to do like brochures and stuff. So, okay. Any other comments, Matt or Lee, or?
Just curiosity, the Hagemiller land, is that, or across from them, is that a big chunk, a big dollar amount? What?
I don't know, that's a farm, some farmer dad, who owns that. It's right across the street from them and
To the
then,
east.
Would that be the bank?
no,
Or
a
they don't
farmer
own
owns that.
Oh, okay.
Oh, you know what? I think it could be Petzl's. I'm not
think-
positive,
I
but
think that's a Petzl
I
property.
think it's Petzl's.
Yeah, paid
Where the drive-in used to be?
right,
Yeah,
turn the corner, right behind it.
Yeah.
Right where, who does our
Sorry,
streets?
Lee. Oh,
Who does our streets?
Okay,
Well,
Claire.
Robinson owns it now.
Yeah, Claire.
Claire used to own it, then Robinson owns it now, the truck, or the land behind that. That's what I've been pushing on for a long time, but you said Patel.
I think so, because they called them.
Yeah,
Is it a
it's a big piece of land, yeah, it's farmland.
20, 40, 80, any guess?
I don't know.
I only ask because my thought is, would what we pay for the 22 acres be enough to go buy that?
I don't know, we've never really discussed it with the thing, but I've always brought it up and tried to get it, yeah.
Well, if that's the line right there, it's a big chunk.
That's right behind those buildings there. That whole.
But that's
Yeah,
not
that's
saying
it.
they'd have to, that's not saying they'd have to sell the whole chunk.
No,
either, but, I mean, this is a good dialogue because,
Yeah.
I mean, especially, you know, what's been brought up during discussion about other land too.
right, yeah. I mean, that's a possibility if we sold this and if we can get our hands on. But then again, our industrial park's over here by Scott Equipment. And then we got this down here with you guys and Metalcraft, so it's almost, I don't know.
Well, there's 2 industrial parks in Arlington.
Right. But our new substation sits out over there for them guys, and it's a long feed, we're gonna put a new feed through from the substation down to Middlecrafts. But someday, if this takes off, and I know they wanna sell this, so, you know, we wanna be someplace with a new substation. And then if we ever gonna have to buy more land, or maybe we wanna give you 15 acres of it, when we keep 10, or so, I don't know, you know, it's always a possibility, but we like to have someone, I think I'd like to have somebody come in there that's gonna put up a building and bring business in, people working, you
You
know.
really talk about that.
Yeah.
I'm a little hesitant because we kind of started the dialogue before, and then the next we hear from anyone is a picture on the city council with a road going right through the middle of our property. I haven't heard a word from anyone. So, I mean, we can surely bring ideas. We have, the ownership group has multiple companies. It's not a stretch to bring something in and improve it. And then maybe you get the best of both worlds, right? You still have industrial there, it gets developed, and then you take the money and go start another one, other in the town.
Anything's possible. You know. It just, you know, you hate to give up something that you have, and then. Especially when we.
266.
Yeah, but,
And they thought they got a deal.
yeah, I don't know, I wasn't here at that time. But no, I don't know, it's something to talk about, that's what we'll be talking about, we know we got a proposal.
Dialogue's always good.
Yep.
Well, the things that you mentioned, Matt, mentions in his letter are all very, very interesting to me. It seems like that would be a tremendous utilization of the land, but if it's not gonna happen, that's another issue. I mean, we've had people come to us before saying they were gonna do this or that, and it didn't.
Right.
It didn't happen.
Yeah. There would have to be some stipulations in there that it's gotta be done by a certain, you know. So if we even sell you the land, it's gonna be, you gotta have a business here in a year or 2 years or something like that.
Well, look what happened with Tony Hawk.
Yeah, yeah. So that's what we have to deal with too yet, so.
I think one of the things that, excuse me, the EDA knows about is that the city has had some complaints about the smell with the drying, so, excuse me, going forward, I don't think we'd wanna hear about an extension of those ponds or anything like that. I know that we have a couple of residents here this evening that are concerned about that, and so just so that your company's aware that however we can correct that, sometimes it's not easy to do that, you know, once it's happened.
Oh, well, the cover and the pit, I know I covered that was that in the fall? Your attorney
Yeah.
came and where is that? I think the more things, I mean, if that was a requirement, the more things that get done like that is better.
It's in the works. Foss Construction is the general contractor.
Okay.
It's a lot of dirt moving. It's a whole lot easier to do that than
Warm, with snow stuff, okay. Okay.
Understood.
Okay, any other questions, comments? I mean, I think just tonight we're listening to a request. We're not gonna take any.
One more.
Yeah.
What was it, did, you get any information on what you guys did give us for a bid? For like 120, was it a 128?
Whatever the county.
It's in the letter that I gave
Oh.
21.
I think it was the same as what they had offered you last time, that's why.
Right.
But, and yeah, this time, again, it's whatever the fair market value is, going over and asking Laura, the county assessor.
So it would have been that 129,200 was last year's.
I think that's what I remember.
Yeah, and this year it's going up to 157,200, but as Lisa pointed out, you paid 66,160.
Right,
It's up.
and that's something you have to look at.
My
Sure.
house got older and depreciated, and the value went up.
Oh, I
How
know.
does that work?
I don't know yet. Haven't figured that one out. We're on a fixed budget, fixed income, anyway. Okay, that's all I have.
Okay, anything else, or Matt or Lee, anything you wanna add, and we can always keep in touch. Starting a dialogue is always good.
Well, I think that was the goal, essentially.
That is the goal. So, I mean,
Open up the dialogue.
if you're hard and fast, you're gonna chase the road, then my work is done, right? There's nothing left.
Yeah.
There's no business to bring to it at that point.
There's no guarantee.
If
You
you're
know, the
open to
state,
other
there's
ideas,
no
then-
guaranteed with that road.
Where does that road go?
160.
Well, we would like to go straight through, but we can't, because it won't give us easement to the highway and stuff, so we thought we'd come down and connect it here and go.
Oh, but that's not our road.
Well, there wouldn't be, no, but there's some
We can't-
issues.
We can't connect to it.
Well, it
Well,
would involve eminent domain.
You call it, man, we can do it. That way we got our railroad and our highway. There's not saying nothing you can't do.
Okay.
You know,
Okay.
always something you can do. Did you know that positive stuff? You gotta be positive.
And nothing's ever gonna happen overnight.
No,
We've
no,
learned on the EDA, you know, it's a process.
Right.
Whatever direction.
yeah, I thought we'd get this thing rolling and they were gonna put it into the state, say, yeah, we want $4 million, and you know how they work. They don't just write a check out, but
Well, I remember Amy talking at one of those meetings, it's gotta get approved by the state, then the county, and the county has a 5-year queue
Yep.
for,
for
so
anything, so.
once it gets approved by the state, we got at least another 5 years.
We'll probably be gone by that
You're not building old folks' homes.
time. Yeah, well, I'll keep it in mind, but, you know, that's just things we've been throwing around and trying to get at and stuff, but, like I said, we just got our electrical committee going this year, and there's a lot of stuff, we gotta work on that too, so. And we need things and stuff like that, plan to plan on, so.
Okay, anything else before we move on? Okay, I guess we're set. Well, thanks, Matt.
Thank you, Josh.
If something does come from our group, we'll either invite you back or Shirley will, or the new city administrator will contact you.
Sounds good?
Yeah, all right. Thank you.
It's a good meeting you.
Thank you.
The other item on your agenda is a request from Shannon, I'm not sure how you say his last name, but, and I did get a hold of him this afternoon, and he was going to show up, but he's not here, and that too is, he's requested something that he's interested, in purchasing this property, so maybe for next time, I'll get a hold of him and
Nope,
see
we could
that.
just table it for now, unless he shows
Does
up.
anybody know Shannon Katasic?
I don't.
Is he from Katasic's at Henderson?
It's Scott's
It's,
son.
Oh,
Scenic
Scott
byway.
Katasic, you know Scotty Katasic lives on the bottom road in Henderson. Okay, all right.
What is it?
I thought he was famous in these parts.
Not like you are, but.
My memory is also famous, so maybe I did know him one time, but, it seems to me though, before we get off the subject, that if we're gonna pursue either of these, I think we need to have this parcel appraised,
Well, that's a good idea.
because I don't know if we're doing our due diligence if we just said, oh, well, okay, we'll take fair market value or according to the county assessor.
Right.
You're
Um,
correct on that.
Because it's gonna have to be a public hearing, we're gonna have to have our ducks in line if we do. If these folks were up here saying that they had something specific going on with this trucking company and all these things, I'd be very excited about it, but is it real?
Yeah,
Well, they could just buy it and sit on it too.
Of course, yeah.
and I don't want that.
You know, and that's,
And we have to watch what we put out there too, so it's one of them issues, it's.
Well, Amy said that would cost about $1,600 to have it.
Appraisal.
is that something the group thinks should be done regardless? So we know? Or only if we think we're gonna sell? What do you think, Larry?
Well, I mean, I guess I'd like to hear what Mr. Katasik has to say. I mean,
Was he
maybe he has something.
interested in buying it or?
He was, the way he made it sound, yeah, he was.
Okay.
He wouldn't give me a proposal or, I said, I'll send you, just send me something like a written memo.
It would be nice to
Yeah,
have some.
but I just got a hold of him late today and I had been calling him all last week.
Okay.
Couldn't reach him.
What does this more famous Katasik do, do you know? I mean,
I would, after reading that this was gonna be on the agenda, I thought possibly he wanted to rent it for farming because
Oh. I see.
he does farming. I mean, he took over Scott's place and does a little farming, then he works for,
He does some trucking though too, I thought somebody said.
yeah.
Yeah, that,
Well, he must have been aware of it because we've advertised it for rent.
Yeah.
I think another thing why we looked at that number 4, or that road coming down through there is get everybody off Henderson Road. For the semis and stuff like that. If we could get that road back there and come through, we wouldn't have to have all them trucks going down Henderson Road all the time, that way too. I think that was one of our issues or things that we were looking at when we did it. And I hate to give up land that we have because there's no land around to buy, so we gotta watch what we
Is there
do.
any option where we could buy more land out there? We have the 22, is there
Well,
other,
the only thing is.
I mean, could we buy other land maybe with, and we would have access to that property?
The 22 acres?
Yeah,
I don't know, someone told me one time that, this land road here, if we could get a easement through here,
who owns that though? Is that Gino?
this,
Yeah.
or this, no, that's Doling and who runs the electric company over in Gaylord?
Something? No,
McGuire.
McGuire?
No, Subway, I think it is. Him and them, they own this together, cause they were remember when they were gonna put in that big railroad parking lot there for all the big trains? They were planning on that. Remember that?
Yeah. Is that a dead dog also?
Yeah, I think so, yeah. I mean, it'd be beautiful if the state and the railroad would let us come across come across their property, which I still don't understand that, but, it is kind of deadlocked land. But, once you sell it to them and they don't have really, like you said, their cover on their, big pond that they got problems with and the
Does anybody
smell.
know where Northland drying land is?
And
Is it north of that County Road 166?
I think it's this here, right? Whatever Seneca owned, they own this parcel and they own these trailer parks. I think it's this right here.
So if that road does go through, that would be south of their land.
Yeah.
It wouldn't cut their land.
It would come right through here, but.
Yeah, and then the parcel that we're talking about is to your left there, right
Right,
there.
yeah. But if we get a road here, someone buys this and wants to put a factory, they could, there's something, you can come across here or something along the railroad track or something. I don't know, there's a lot of, I think the reason why they bought it back then was because of the elevator.
Yeah, the UFC, I
They wanna
think.
put a new elevator in and that folded or something. I don't know.
went somewhere else.
What's the problem?
Yeah, big facility.
I think all this discussion is really good. We're
Well-
kind of a think tank, and
But I think we had to hold Northern Drying for their smell and stuff like that, because I know when we have them houses over there redoing.
I know
Yeah,
that.
we tell the realtor, don't sell it on the day it stinks.
I know at that meeting, they did say
They
there was
have,
a requirement.
yeah,
They're gonna put a cover over the pit, and they haven't done that yet.
well, I think the council has to work on that with the, and there must be filter systems that will take care of that smell too. I mean, big factories down by Worthington, the big meat processing places, they don't stink, you know, so. I don't know, that's up to the council, but I like to hold on to that land just for another year maybe, or unless somebody comes in and says, hey, I wanna put
We
up
got
something.
definite
Right,
plans, like those girls
Right.
with the,
right,
with,
One thing is, and I, you
that
know,
quilting,
quilt, yeah.
yeah, that would've been a fantastic thing.
I think that before you release it or sell it, that you have to have a commitment from Northern that the smell will be taken care of. Because it's really, I mean, we have lots of phone calls in the fall and during the summer, I think even people, and you have some people that have voiced that opinion that they haven't really corrected it, so it's kind of like,
I don't smell that much, but when I drive
Yeah,
down Main, I do, but,
oh, you do.
cause I live way on the other side, but
Sure.
it's not, it should be corrected. So that's all I can say about it.
And I,
But do you think we should get an appraisal on it then? Do you wanna,
Well, I don't, I wouldn't say we should get it before,
we sell it?
before we find out that
Okay.
we've got somebody that's
Okay,
really interested in it. I mean, I guess you could say Northern Drying is interested in it, but, I don't know that we're, like I said, I don't know if we're doing our due diligence to just sell it to them for the price they offer.
right, no,
Yeah.
no.
If we get it appraised now and then nothing happens for 5 years,
Right,
you
yeah.
gotta get it appraised again.
Yeah, that's true, yeah.
But I would very much like to find out what this Shannon Katasic has in mind.
Should
If
we,
anything.
we'll invite him to the next meeting then and just see what he.
we'll
Yeah,
see what he has to say.
Okay,
Okay, we'll move on. The next item, discussion, the daycare loan program. I put that on the agenda. I think it was last November, our group, approved a daycare loan, $1,000 to Gwen Sharkey. And then the city council did. I think according to the agreement, it's for up to 6 months. Now, I've had a few calls where, you know, small towns, all the rumors start that she's already collected the money, but she never started the daycare, which is not true. And that's just not Gwen and Matt. I asked Lisa too, and Gwen has not received a penny. And I did tell Matt and Gwen yesterday that it would be on the agenda because I didn't want them blindsided.
Yeah.
Then today, I got the email from Gwen. I wasn't sure, I didn't want to break any open meeting laws to email it out, so I copied and pasted it and I put it in front of everybody, so you know. And if she does decide in the future, she can always come back and reapply. But I thought that way, it stops all those rumors
Yeah.
that she's gotten money and she hasn't gotten a penny. And there's no way she could, because the bills need to come to us first before any money goes out anyway,
right.
so.
Okay.
So we don't need to really do anything because
Well,
the letter is saying,
Well, we should
I think we
probably,
should.
okay,
have a motion
okay.
to, I don't, to
Oh,
accept
well, maybe it could be a
or,
motion to,
Except her withdrawal?
yes, accept the
Yeah.
withdrawal from the program.
because then after this, I'll go to the council.
Yeah.
And then they'll put a stop.
Well, I would make that motion.
Okay, I'll second it.
Okay, so motion by Larry, second by Howie to accept, withdrawal from her, the request from Gwen Sharpie to withdraw her application for the childcare loan.
Yeah.
How's that sound?
Good,
That's exactly what I meant.
that's good.
Exactly what you're thinking,
Yeah,
okay?
right.
And and I will put it in the paper, because I think everybody.
Yeah.
And also put in the minutes that she has not received.
Mhm.
And I wrote it down here, so 10 years from now, I can say.
So, that protects everybody and that stops the rumor. So, okay, we have that motion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carried.
And I will let the city council know, because the resolution, approving the terms of that was done back in,
I think
I
November.
think the first meeting, November 7th, that I was here. So, we'll take it back and have the city council do whatever they do with it, I don't know.
Well, they would
Just-
sure approve the same,
Okay,
Yeah,
The motion.
recommendation we just did, and then it's a done deal.
all right. Thank you.
Okay, D, the easement proposal, and I have no idea what any,
Okay, and I
you'll have to
think,
explain
yeah,
that
okay.
to us, Shirley.
I gave this to you because I don't, and we got it back already in February, and then I talked to the gentleman, and then he called back and said, and I'm not sure where this property is at, I don't know if any of you can identify it. It has to be a part of the EDA property?
Yeah, it is.
Okay, where on the map is it? Mr. Brinkman, can you show it?
Mr. Pringle.
Mister.
Mister, I'll take you out, I'll get sued for that.
Right down there.
Oh, right down.
We own this
Okay.
portion, this piece of land right here.
And the way I understand it is that this, middle mile infrastructure comes through and they need an easement. In talking with him today, he told me that, he gave me out the price of 60,000. In your letter, on the second page, it says 50,000. It's 120 by 120 easement area, and it's not a permanent easement. It could be a perpetual easement that gives back once they're done with it. It has to do with a hut that they would like to place there for,
Does this have to do with New Vera?
no, it does not. It's different. I asked him that, are you from
Oh,
Rivera? And he said not. But he said this here's already, fiber that follows Highway 5. It's already in there and it comes out of the Minneapolis area and so forth. So I said, are you from Rivera? And he said not. So I don't know. I'm not sure where will Rivera.
Because Nuvera's looking for a place to put a house.
So can we put two huts side by side?
I'm a little bit leery that we shouldn't do anything. I don't wanna, us to do anything or the council, then maybe it screws up what New Vera's trying to do. Maybe it's a competitor.
Well, he should be here to explain what he
Yes.
really needs to do, because
Uh,
if there is a fiber coming down 5, why does he need to go up in our land for an easement if it's not in our town?
So are
they
those
need
blue and green lines fibers?
No. Mm-mm. Not that
And
I
his
know.
properties,
Just property lines.
But, and so that's a good idea if you'd like him to come.
I think I would, because I'd like to know what,
I think we should contact New Vera too, and just so that it doesn't interfere with what they're trying to do.
So where are they trying? They're trying to get a hut over by Public Works, right?
Yeah.
They're trying to. do
But
that
just to
too.
make sure it's not, I
I
mean, it's kind of a big coincidence that we're getting this as New Vera wants to kind of start up in town.
Well, this came in before, I think.
Have you
This was
heard anything
February
about
the first of last year. Was the first I heard.
Yeah, and that was about the time New Vera.
now you don't wanna make New Vera mad either, I mean.
Well, that's what I'm saying, we should, I think,
I mean,
you know, there might
$50,000
be-
is good, but
I was
there
gonna
might
say,
be
Who are
something
these
behind the
people and what do they
scenes.
do?
I don't know.
they bring out or they work with other internet, what is it, wiring?
fiber optics.
Fiber optic.
Yeah.
Well, haven't they been laying that cable between Arlington and Green Isle last year? I mean,
Oh, that one,
isn't that?
I don't know who that is.
that's
Yeah, they went all
probably
the way
this.
through.
Or this might be, a contractor hired by our RS Fiber too. I think there's a little something fishy, or we need more information, I think, but I don't know, what does the group think?
Well, and all this guy is a site acquisition specialist. He
Right.
is not part of he's not part of a company. He's just trying to find a chunk of land for somebody else.
Well, that's what I'm saying, and I'd like to find out who, I mean, it's kinda like the 22 acres, we sit on it forever, just like Tony Huff's project or property, and as soon as there's no interest, and then all of a sudden on the Huff property, one person wants it, then everybody wants it. You know, just like the 22 out here, but yeah, I don't know what, we just kinda acknowledge we received it and say we
Sure.
need more information,
information.
or.
We received it,
On the
but we don't know
top, I
what it
couldn't
is.
figure out what that meant on the top, the subject, it says Green Isle Search Ring. I don't know what that means.
I'd like this to reach out. Oh, you gotta go, okay. Sorry we didn't get it over.
Gargle.
But, two nose courts.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so.
The only thing I could, the
Maybe
only
sing
thing
a
I,
solo, maybe like a
Quicker, we usually have,
national anthem maybe instead of.
it's too important, EDA, council meeting usually shorten up, because they're not that important. Okay,
These are pretty tame.
the only thing I can think of is that cable company that's putting the lines through, they need a place. They're not talking about putting a building in.
Yeah, hot.
yeah, they are.
Hot.
Okay, so they probably need some kind of like a communication, so they can bring the fiber in and connect it and bring it back out again. But that fiber
Was there
going from Arlington to Green Isle, where is that fiber gonna go anyway? What are they doing with
I don't
it?
know.
This may be an extension of it. Who knows?
Well, they need a place like to terminate. I think that's their biggest thing, to terminate.
I don't think it's, he said it was like to boost the cable areas that already have this cable. I don't know much about optic
See, you
fiber.
can only run it so far, then you gotta go into a building then,
Yeah,
maybe, but
so,
You know,
So was there an attachment that showed what the building would look like? Because we don't see that.
no, it did not, and it says, it's not a very big building either. I was surprised when he said it's like a hut. I don't know
That
what
would
that's
screw
about.
up the
I
farmer a
think
little
maybe
bit.
you're right. We'll just have them, come out and do another presentation at the next EDA board meeting.
Yeah.
Or do you wanna contact Nuvera first?
Well, I kinda like to contact Nuvera, and maybe they'll tell us.
So do you wanna do that? Or-
I do have the contact.
Yeah, why don't
If you want me
you do that?
to, is that okay with everybody?
Sure.
Or,
Yep.
you know, maybe they'll say, oh,
That's
boy,
right. know what's happening.
You can call this company and see if you want to.
or I could email.
Yeah, email them and see
Okay.
what it is that.
Well, down-
EDA.
down here, they are talking about if we do have other land, you know, they can look at it, we can look at some along Highway 5 too.
Yeah.
It's just not this spot, they're just looking at this spot,
Mhm.
and I think it's a booster house, yeah.
Yeah, I think that,
I don't know why they have to go so far back into the land. But anyway, we should have the guy come and explain
Do a
it,
Yeah,
presentation,
that's
right.
what I
You know.
think too, instead of,
okay,
because before we do anything, I don't wanna make a
is
mistake.
that okay with the rest of the EDA?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay,
all right.
well then we'll move on. I put the Sibley County Fair Board, I know Matt's on the Fair Board, but a month ago, Mike Stum reached out to me. Said,
Mike.
Stum, STUMM. Should the Tony Hawk property ever become back to us and available for sale, they would be interested. They just wanted it on record, and I said, well, we could put on record, and I said, I can't speak for the EDA. Alls I can say is, we're in a holding pattern, because we all know Tony has to meet our requirement, and there's one or two requirements from the city council too. And then if he meets the requirements, he keeps that property. If he doesn't, I know the legalities, I mean, I heard there's a lien on the property, but I mean, the legal, I don't know what would happen.
I think we have to bring a lawyer here sometime and ask them a question.
But their big thing is, and, they just wanna be on record.
Yeah.
So I mean,
Yeah, that's fine.
I think to be a good neighbor, not saying we have to sell it to them, just they wanna be on record.
Yeah, I don't know how that's all gonna float. It's April 24th or 25th, right? He's got a
25th,
25th.
So for the jobs or which one?
Well, yeah, I think for the jobs,
jobs,
the
and then
EDA,
the
it's in the notes.
council.
Council extended a month till, so that they can dig up that line, I believe. Or did it? till-
For the water line.
For the water line,
Well,
that's a separate.
I think the
issue.
EDA said that he has to have them written documentation on each of there are 5 people that he's supposed to be
And
having
that's
out
kind
there.
of the next agenda item.
But I would like to, if Cywick has, I think it was 80,000 on his property, something.
Yeah, something like that.
I was under the impression he was foreclosing on that, but
Right, but
I guess we need to find out what the status of that
I don't think,
litigation is.
in my mind, I would like to see if it's 80, is the city buy it? You know, pay Cywick off and we buy it and then resell it to somebody, cause I would really like to see them shops go out there.
Yeah.
And is Cywick gonna take it over and start building shops out there? That'd be fine too, but, so I don't want, before Cywick takes it over, I wanna know
Yeah,
what his plans are. It's like, these guys, I wanna know the
I
plan.
don't know the plans.
Who would build shops? I mean,
Well,
Whoever.
Mechanical
Tony,
shops.
Tony was gonna build
I
shops.
see, yeah, I see.
Like there were some truckers that need
Yeah.
big shops. If you go on 22 out of St. Peter to Mankato, you look off to the right-hand side and that guy's putting up these great big shops for truckers or people that got big equipment. Maybe someone got to put their motorhomes in or something like that. So that's what we need in town too again. And that was that land pretty much purchased. But Tony said he was gonna put up a shop with 5 and a secretary, wasn't it, or something?
Uh,
And it hasn't come true. I think he made good on a lot of his bills that we made him do, but.
Well, that road he had to put in, that did cost him some money too.
Right, but,
So, but alls I
But
told,
oh, I'm sorry.
alls I told Mike Stum is, I'm not the attorney, that we would just put it in our minutes.
Yeah.
Saying we would sell it to them, but it would, just so they're on record.
but then there's another thing is how much is that land worth? How much is that building worth? So we'd have to look at.
I
all
told
that
them there's
before
so
we sell.
much.
Yeah.
So much going on out there. I said, we're in a holding pattern until
Right.
we see if he meets these requirements and the ones from the city too.
And what were you gonna say, Cheryl?
I was gonna say, does Sibley County Fair Board have the authority to buy it, or would they want us to give it?
No, we can buy it. Actually, we can do it eminent domain as well, under chapter 38.
So.
The county can?
So the county-
Fair board can.
So the county
It's not
board,
a county, we're not county owned. We're our own entity.
so you could get it for nothing.
But you
for
do
nothing.
get
Well,
funds.
under eminent domain,
I don't think they're looking that route.
That would be
No, but if you went that route, that doesn't mean you wouldn't have to pay for it. I mean,
Right, no.
you'd have to
Yeah,
do
it's
fair
just-
market
no,
value of it.
Whatever they're thinking, I'm not partial to that information, but I know they're looking at buying it.
Did they not know that it was for sale before
They,
Tony Hawk?
we did, we
Oh.
just kind of were unsure what to do with it.
Oh,
I think our
I think-
EDA was keeping the land for somebody like Tony or somebody to
Yeah.
come in
Yeah.
and bring business and people that would live here.
right,
You know, if you sell it to this fair board and nothing wrong with that, but
right.
it would sit. And I don't know, maybe they'd
Probably.
expand the
Well, I don't know
fairground.
what their ideas, there's lots of ideas kicked around.
Well, just like here, you know, what are we gonna do with this and that?
Mhm.
Yeah,
But I don't think they wanna pull the domain thing on us.
Sure.
no.
That one set very good.
No.
That was just kind of.
Well, it's the last resort.
That would be the last. Yeah.
resort.
It was just a neat thing we found out, but.
Yeah. Well, it's like us with that road down there, you know.
There's-
If it has to be, it will be.
Yeah, there's.
I mean,
neat
it
things you
might
can-
be.
Yeah, it's just, it's amazing what fair boards can really do.
Yeah.
But, no, I don't know what the plans would be back there, but I would, I would prefer to see the shops, because I know some people that are looking for a
Yeah.
place to either start a shop or
Yeah.
put their trucks in and.
And we're out of town, we're not where everybody can smell the stuff in the truck. That's why we kept it. But yeah, we'll
Okay.
just wait till everything flies out.
So we'll just
We'll
put it
just
in the
note it in the
minutes,
minutes.
that they're interested, should it
Yeah.
up for sale.
Yeah, no,
There's no, I said, there's no guarantees, nothing,
Well, thank you.
Okay, the next, and again, I put some of these on there because we don't have an EDA consultant for me to, I hope nobody thinks I'm on a power trip, I'm not.
Yeah.
You're doing a good job.
Right,
Well,
right.
thank you.
we'll stand behind you for about 5 minutes.
Yeah, there you go.
And we will let you know as soon as we're not happy.
But these are normally things that Amy would ask me,
Right.
should we put on the agenda, and well, no, we don't have her. The next thing, to Tony Huff, I just had a reminder about the requirements, because I know in the past, I know at least twice, he'll come in with a sheet of paper
Yeah.
and a list of 5 names. These are my employees, and he's been told, you need more proof than a list of 5 names. We're not that stupid.
Right.
Like payroll record.
Yeah,
Whatever.
yeah. And then now I know we have our requirement, the city has theirs. So maybe it would be good, I think, for like Shirley to draft a letter, remind him of the requirements, so he doesn't come back and say, well, I dropped off that sheet of paper at the city office, and that's what he's done, I think, twice.
Well, it's gotta be
Here's 5 names.
explained to him.
I think that's a good
Well, I think he
reminder.
knows what he's doing.
Yeah, I do too.
Huh?
I think you're
Oh,
right.
yeah, he knows.
You're right.
Do you feel comfortable in doing that, Shirley, or
Well,
you want the
what, I'll
lawyer?
work with Ken Jansen
Okay.
and Kurt.
ME.
Yeah,
Okay.
and find out what the
Yeah.
requirements are. I'm not even sure what the city said their requirements are, maybe.
I have it in an article, otherwise
Oh.
Matt would know.
Oh.
I wrote it pretty detailed,
Oh,
but
good, that's good.
whoever, I just think a reminder,
No,
so he can't come back and
Right.
say.
And he did bring in that list. I asked Lisa today because they had,
Hmm.
and
He knows
it's hard
better, too.
hard to know. He had amounts that he had paid people, so, but, it's, you have to be real careful what they release. Can't give you much more than a name and
Yeah.
address. I don't know what they can give you. Can't give you
Maybe
social or
that's
anything
something
like
that
that. Mhm.
Ken
His
would
auditor
know,
or
but
something.
but we need more
Sure.
than just a
Good
list
thing
of
it could give
5
you
names.
payroll records with certain items redacted, like social security numbers and things
Yeah.
like that.
Could do that, but
I'm almost to the point, even if you had 4, but if you put up a new building, I'd be happy with that. I think we all want to see another building go up out there.
I don't think anything's going to happen until he resolves what People Services has to say. They suspect that it was supposed to be a cold storage building, but now they found that there's like a bathroom in there. Now, I've never heard of building.
I thought he said there was gonna be a bathroom, because he'd have a
Well, it
second,
is,
right?
the building's supposed to have an office,
In the
actually,
main,
Yeah.
in the main one, there was going to be,
an office.
So they
But this
kind of
isn't the
suspect that
main-
he might
this
already
isn't
be
the
hooked up.
spot, is it? Is this
I
the
don't
spot?
know.
the
I
They
main-
have
think
two
every
buildings.
one was gonna have something, so we're talking, so
Oh.
remember he checked out the sewer lines going across to whatever streets out there. So there was gonna be sewer and water hookups to all the
To the
buildings we should have put up.
sheds, yeah. Is this one in the location of where the main one was going to be?
No, I thought it was where he puts his equipment.
Yeah.
I thought there was gonna be a main one there.
That was gonna be closer to County Road 9.
Yeah, and then you put this one back here.
Well, the issue is, and Gwen's here to verify that, he's paid his SAC charges, right? Not whack, but no SAC charges. So what I'm saying about that there shouldn't be a bathroom is that he hasn't paid for a bathroom. So you can say whatever it is.
Oh.
Lee said it's a cold storage building. I don't know what that means, guys. He just said then it wouldn't have any restroom in it. So he hasn't paid for the hookups to sewer. Yeah. But he did bring in the money for the water, correct?
Mm-hmm. Because that's there.
Whatever dealings he's got
Well,
going
no,
with Silex.
yes, well, he hooked up by himself, so
Yeah.
we haven't had any formal drawings so that they, and the weather isn't cooperating right now to make sure that he's hooked up correctly. Yeah, that's the problem.
Well, Silex got his own problems with all those wires out there for the 16 place.
Yeah.
That never occurred.
Yeah.
And that's what Jen was complaining about. He's got them sticking up all over the place.
Yes, they are.
You
But
know-
that's going to be fixed. you know, on the positive side, Mr. Sywick, you know, and as I, in the
Yeah,
review last
I
year.
saw that letter.
He's going to, fix it, and he's allowed the 20,000 to stay here. We met with, excavators, and they think they can clean all of that up for 10,000. I'll be really shocked.
I
if
love
that
the way
happens.
I allow you to keep the 20,000.
It's one of them things though with Tony, you know, I like the guy and he could do it the first time, so we give him a second chance. And then he comes back and, like I said, I've talked to him hundreds of times and you bend over backwards for him to help him, and it's like, come on, dude, you got the land for hardly nothing, just do the work and get it going. I mean, that's all we want. It's not like we're trying
It's
to.
just a management thing.
Maybe, you know, I don't know,
He
maybe
doesn't
money.
want anything to do
Yeah.
with management.
Yeah, but you can only bend over backwards for somebody
Yeah,
so many
so
times.
long. I think it would be good for us to find out, I don't know, you know, what our standing is in that regard, but what is happening between he and Sywick. You know, I mean, is there litigation or have they started foreclosure or what? So it would be good to know.
Or is it just hearsay? You know, I mean.
Yeah.
do
Well, I think
know if there's-
we need to know, so maybe that'd be a good thing for the attorney to,
Yeah, I
Can
guess
EDA
that would be
direct
the
council
proper-
to do that, or
we can make a request.
we can make a request? Well, it'd be nice to know before April's right around the corner, or however long they extend.
Yeah, I think would be a legitimate request for us to ask our lawyer, find out what is happening
With that land.
with
I
that,
do
with
know
that
that-
judgment or whatever it is.
I do know that our attorney said that he is dealing with Tony Hoff's attorney. So he has an attorney, so
Oh,
those two
okay,
are,
that's
so I'll
neat.
ask him if there is any kind of report that we
Yeah,
can
it'd be
get out
nice
to
to
you.
know.
That'd be nice.
Yeah.
That'd be
That's
nice.
a good point you guys brought up.
Thanks.
Yeah,
Okay.
helps to talk about this.
If we can just figure out what the hell's going on with Sywick selling out and raising the rent.
Well, yeah, that's
Boy, that's
kind of bothersome.
bad.
I thought that's what that 20 grand was supposed to go for, some of that stuff out there too, wasn't it? Or was that just for the
No.
driveway?
No, it's to fix all of it. It's to fix the,
But you made it sound like the new owners needed money to go for those repairs. And I thought that 20,000 was supposed to.
Well, that's a lawyer's thing, but
Yeah.
I don't know how, if he signed a contract with the people, that'd be hard to, wow, that'd be a $400 jump. That hurts.
That's a lot.
that's
That
all.
hurts.
Well,
Yeah.
it almost borders on fraud if you sell the property when you've got contracts. I don't know.
Well, I know when I had a contract with the railroad, Chicago Northwestern, to put my water and sewer across, then when these guys took over, they sent this whole letter out going, we're gonna raise your thing. I took it up to Ross and he goes, no, they can't do that. So,
So help me understand, because the first contract that Mr. Sywick had with the EDA was that he was to maintain that property for 5 years. And then did you agree that that could be taken out of the contract?
I think we did have a meeting. That's what I was trying to ask for, if we got the minutes, you know, it's just like all this other stuff. Where's the minutes for this? We need to see if we did do that. And maybe we did say, if we put in this road, you get 20,000. Like I said, I need the minutes, I need to see what we did, but nobody seems to find it.
Well, I'll tell you, I've been doing a lot of work for the attorney and dragging up all of these, but what your minutes say are this, per the agreement, and we never find the agreement. And your agreement was only signed on January 23rd of this year, and it was a different agreement than what the city council first had, where the five was taken out of there. I did contact Ross because he's the one that drafted that document. Most attorneys, if they redraft, they'll note it on the bottom, it'll have a different date. The one that I had on the agreement that said 5 years was dated the same as the one that I received signed from Mr. Sywick. And then the 5 years was out of there.
Does Ross have any papers?
Well,
or
Ross-
anything?
Sure, Ross has it, but
Well, he
that's
must
not-
have a copy.
He must have a copy of
Yes, he does
anything.
have a copy, but that's not the one that got signed. The agreement got changed. And so I don't know who changed.
Did he say he did not change it?
He did not change it. In December, he sent me the agreement that I have in the file. But now, I mean, it's over with and done with. Mr. Sywick has agreed to fix it, and then we just have
Yeah.
to go on from there.
It's kind of a
But the
moot point
clause
now.
is now that, and there must be a new owner.
Right.
According to what she
Mhm,
said.
yeah.
But I-
So I do think your minutes really, really need to state more and have copies attached to your packet or somewhere.
Yeah,
Because the agreement, it can be anything that I put in there. That's not okay. You've got to have an agreement that you
Right.
people approve, and then it should be attached to your
Yeah.
minutes and your documents. That's how it is where I came from. I'm old school though. you
No,
know,
I agree with that. I
clutter
agree with
myself
that.
up with paper.
that's why we pay you that big bucks.
Right, so,
No, I would like to have it, cause then I can put it in a file. and
that's right, right.
Even if I don't, at least you got the file someplace where
And
we
you have to try to
did.
remember, well, what date did we do that?
Well, I make my wife make sure she'd have it.
That's
every
right.
while. She's that smart
Yeah,
person,
that's
I'm just the one.
Mhm.
Yeah,
But even if we did change that, wouldn't that, should have gone to the council, right? Because we could never do anything, would have gone to the council, and they would have to formally
that's
approve it. I don't know if that ever made it to the council.
It seems to me that it is the council issue with Rouse Arneson.
Well, my understanding from all the years I've been on the EDA board is all we can do is recommend. That's all we
Yeah, that's
can
what-
do.
Yeah.
And the council takes care of it.
so there should be some council minutes that we changed that someplace.
Again,
That's in here.
No,
per
no.
the agreement and no agreement.
Oh,
I can't find the agreement. And like I said, the agreement that was dated in 1921 is the same agreement that he signed January of 23rd, other than that 5 years was taken out of it.
oh,
So the agreement wasn't signed way back in the minutes, when it said per the agreement. It wasn't signed then until this January. And I'll tell you, I had kind of I didn't have a fit about it, but I did. I raised some concern because when the note agreement came in, it was signed by Mr. Sywick. And so I said to Gwen, do you know Mr. Sywick? And I don't remember what Gwen said, maybe yes or no. No, I think you did, shake your head no. So I said, how do we know this is Sywick that signed this agreement? Shouldn't it be notarized? Or you should have a note, do you go anywhere where you don't have to drag out your driver's license to identify who you are in this day and age? And then when I brought that up, they said, well, we've never had it before. What do you mean? We're not in the 1910s. We have a notary, and you should have a spot on there that these documents are notarized, so that we know who's signing them.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, I don't.
well, this is a learning curve for our EDA, and that's what we have to really have.
Yeah, but it's not you necessarily.
Yeah, I know,
mean,
but
I think
still.
it's for and I think that the new attorney will always put that on there.
Yeah.
So make sure that your documents are notarized or signed for a witness, so we know who in the
Yeah.
world it is that's signing.
Yeah.
So that's just
Okay,
my 2 cents worth, whatever that's worth.
Okay, interim city administrator updates.
I gave my updates already.
That was all your pocket. Director and board updates. Anybody?
I think we chewed out a lot of stuff.
Right.
The only thing I'll add is our Good Morning Arlington
Oh.
Event at the Phyllis Building that Howie and Brandon and Deb own. So it'll be at the Jeff Matt's.
Which, this Friday?
Yeah, Friday
Friday?
from 7 AM to 9 AM, and everybody here is invited because we're involved in business,
And then where is
you
it?
know,
Right
on Main
downtown.
Street.
No,
You know where Stu's,
Yes.
right next door to Stu's.
Oh,
It's called the Phyllis Building.
Philip?
Yeah, the Phyllis Building, and then there's
Okay.
like 4 businesses
Oh,
in
that's
there. And
I did forget one update. The Chamber of Commerce is having, their annual banquet at the Arlington House on March 21st, and everyone from the city's invited. And they're honoring Julie that passed away. Is it Julie? And she-
Julianne Shaw.
Yeah, and she
Oh.
started like the farmer's market here in town
Yep.
and did a lot of things. And they're just honoring her. Her family will be there. So if anyone wants to stop by and say, thank them for what their mother did for Arlington,
Yeah,
that's
that's
nice.
nice.
I don't know her at all, but they said she didn't live in town, but she did a lot of things for Arlington. So you're all invited. It's a lasagna dinner. Bring your wives, 5:30. Call the chamber.
Anything else?
I make a motion to adjourn.
That was a longer meeting. Motion by Howie, second by Dean to adjourn the meeting. All All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any other reason I wanna do
Motion
that?
carried.
Nobody wants
Thanks,
to show up
everybody,
now.
for
I
coming.
found out something, I had a problem with my water heater. And I had a local plumber come in and give me a new one. I didn't realize you needed a permit to do that.
Oh,
Yeah.
no, we're gonna find you.
Oh,
No,
no,
no, the permit is.
Marge took care of
She took care of it,
Yeah.
yeah. I didn't realize just to replace the damn water heater,
it.
Yeah.
$65.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I like to know where all that money goes.
Huh?
Yeah.
This is what you call hidden taxes.
Okay.
Is there gonna be an inspector coming?
Oh, hidden taxes.
No, we're not gonna raise your taxes, but we'll add a fee.
Yeah, exactly.
And she,